This Venus-Jupiter alignment is breaking illusions today, and it is preparing the twins to rebuild this connection. Are you ready to face what is real? Because the divine masculine, he's awakening. The feminine, she's embodying. And this connection, it is about to ignite. The divine masculine, I have to say, it feels like he is seeing things differently now. What once felt like resistance is starting to look like destiny. Divine feminine, no longer chasing. You are radiating. You are honoring yourself, and you are calling that counterpart home. The pressure is building, though, and that truth is about to crack through. And so whatever's been hidden can no longer stay buried under today's transit, because change is coming in fast. Are you ready for today's message? Hit that like button and let's jump right in. Hey, welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. It is Laura, and we are going to break down these astrological energies for the Twin Flame Collective today, because today we do have Venus in Aries in a sextile to Jupiter in Gemini. This is very fast-moving energy for the twins. Venus in Aries, it is bold, it is loud, it is passionate, it is impulsive in love. And it is this fiercely independent energy, I feel, especially connected to that desire of self-expression and that confident pursuit of all of our desires, right? Divine feminine. And then that Jupiter in Gemini energy. This is expansive thinking. And so there's curiosity, I want to say, connected to soul-based growth. And I do feel there is going to be an opportunity that is going to be presented, but it's going to require initiative, right? Sextiles is the opportunity is there, but you have to take the action. It's not just going to fall on your doorstep. And so it's not about passivity. It is about co-creation, active co-creation. And so the core energies today for the twins is confident expressions of affection and desire. It is all about that big, bold conversation, especially connected to relationships and values. And as you can see, there is still an echo all the way back to that new moon in Gemini. We do have the ascendant still sitting in Capricorn with this transit today. And so there could be a text message, there could be a declaration of love, but I do feel there's a lot of enhanced attraction between the counterparts right now, and possibly even planting those seeds for a brand new connection if you haven't had that breakthrough in your existing twin flame connection. And so there's like a momentum shift, I want to say. And so this could spark communication. This could spark a spontaneous reconnection, or there could just be an emotional breakthrough. And so especially if you've been held back on the journey, or communication has been held back, but I do feel there could be sudden communication after years of silence, especially from the divine masculine. There is that desire to express that love and that truth more clearly, as we can see here up on the screen. Beside me, we do have Venus sitting there right in that third house of communication. And so it's kind of in a conjunction to Chiron. It is in a wide conjunction to Priapus, sitting in the energy of Taurus. And there is a Chariot, Seven of Cups energy coming through today. And so there is a playfulness. There is a release, I want to say, around fear of rejection or abandonment. And this is moving on from illusions, moving on from confusion. And so I want to say this transit today is kind of helping the twins to break the ice, to break down the barriers, especially if the connection has gone cold or even potentially overly serious. And so this is a very light, youthful energy that we're working with today, and it is highly mental, especially with the Gemini Jupiter energy, okay? And so divine masculine, I do feel, is feeling that urge to reach out. I really do. Making a bold move or a bold statement, speaking that truth in basically a very unfiltered way, in a very raw way. And so the Aries energy is breaking through that inertia. It is breaking through, I want to say, that emotional suppression for the divine masculine. And so this is it. This is that risk it moment. It's the moment of like, hey, speak now or forever hold that peace. And so I do think that the masculine is finally feeling like, hey, this is going to be worth the risk. It's going to be worth the risk to be vulnerable, to be flirty, to be open-hearted. And this is where that sudden text message is likely going to come through to you, Divine Feminine. There could be an open-hearted confession. There could just be a flirtatious remark. But there is a desire to open up. There is a desire to make plans. And I do feel this could lead to a spontaneous romantic gesture. We do see Venus, though, in a semi-square to the sun. It is in that sextile to Jupiter, but it's also in that square energy to Pluto still. And so there is a triggering, I want to say, of a core feminine wounding. And we did have the Venus conjunct Chiron energy on the weekend, last weekend. And so there is a lot of healing connected to self-worth and receptivity for the Divine Feminine, where you might feel more radiant, you might feel more attractive, more magnetic, and you know that you don't need to chase, right? You just simply need to be open, honest, and willing to receive. And so I kind of feel for the feminine, this sextile between these two beautiful energies is really asking you to choose yourself first, right? We ultimately have to choose ourselves first. We have to assert our personal values, and we do have to know our worth, especially around being pursued by somebody. And so Jupiter in Gemini encourages our mental expression, expansion. And so there could be new insights being downloaded for you, Divine Feminine, connected to the counterpart. There could be clarity around old communication patterns that need to be healed. And this is like a letting go of the old hurt energy, I want to say, with that ease. And so there's a release, I feel. There's a shift. There's a release connected to the Divine Feminine needing to figure it all out. So you're probably feeling sexy. You're probably feeling empowered. And you're probably owning that energy within your orbit field. And so you're attracting, you're flirtatious. You don't need that validation. You don't need that attention from others, especially from the Divine Masculine. And so the energy for you, I feel, is starting to become a little bit more playful, a little bit more creative, a little bit more communicative. And so this really is a good time for you, Divine Feminine, to learn how to receive. We're not here to chase. When we open up to receiving, it does allow that space for the Divine Masculine to rise, to meet you. And so this really is a catalyst energy today. It's a catalyst energy for reconnection, for breaking the silence, for honing in on and grounding in that courageous communication. And there's a mental and passionate surge in the energies today. And this is all about talking about our desires. There could be flirty texts. There could be a sudden, unexpected visitor in the energies today, but we're healing through the energy of playfulness. So it's less pressurized, it's more presence, it's more joy. That's what heals the tension between the counterparts. And so this is a powerful window opportunity for reconnection and clarity, but it is a short-term spark. It will not last long at all. We do need to take action towards that deeper integration. So let's go a little bit further with the cards. If you are curious to learn more about your birth chart, I do have a free guide, the 15 Basics of Knowing Your Birth Chart, and it might help you follow along with the astrological portions of the reading. So comment free guide down below. I also do have a 22-page twin flame ebook guide if you would like to learn more about the journey and mission and the stages and the phases and how to navigate the twin flame journey like a pro. Comment down below twin flame book, and I will send you the link to download my ebook. But let's get into it with the cards, and let's see what these energies have in store today. All right, let's break down these messages for the twins today for the Venus and Aries sextile, Jupiter in Gemini transit. And so I decided to use the Romance Angels deck today because of the Venus qualities in the air. And the card that did come out for the Divine Masculine Collective is the card of attraction. And it says, you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. And so this does reflect the Venus and Aries energy of that bold magnetism, that raw desire, that physical attraction. And so I do feel the Divine Masculine is becoming increasingly aware of his pull towards the Divine Feminine, even if he's not quite acting on it yet, because there is an energetic draw here that is undeniable. And I do feel he is magnetized not by pressure this time, but by the Divine Feminine's presence. And so enjoying the moment, that phrase I think is really key, right? Enjoying the moment. It does hint that the Divine Masculine is shifting out of that overthinking, out of that energy of avoidance, but there's still a Jupiter in Gemini shadowy energy here that I feel the Divine Masculine is working through, connected to being present in the moment and in that present awareness. And so I do believe today he is being activated to notice what it is that he wants right now and not someday. And so I do think the Divine Masculine is waking up to beauty, to desire, to an emotional aliveness is what it feels like, where he's probably just beginning to learn to trust that instinctive pull towards the Divine Feminine, even if it means bypassing all logic, right? And so there could also be a very sexual or sensory reactivation, I feel, with this card, where I do think he is feeling the Divine Feminine energetically, even if they are in physical separation. And so Divine Feminine, it's true love. You got the true love card, and I do believe this was also one of the cards that came through on the cut. And it does say this is the romance of a lifetime. And I say all the time, it is not just romance, but this is the heart-centered truth. This is truly the love of a lifetime, the romance of a lifetime, when we anchor in that truth, right? And so I do feel under this transit, the Divine Feminine is in this mental swirling energy of Gemini, where she is being reminded that no, this is not about fantasy. This is real. And so the Jupiter influences, I feel, are challenging the Divine Feminine to trust her worth, because your heart already knows, right? Trust what your heart already knows. Do not let the mind play tricks on you today. Do not seek that constant external confirmation. Trust in what your heart knows, because the Venus and Aries energy, I feel, is giving you the courage to own your love proudly. You're not here to dim it. You're not here to chase it. And you certainly are not here to apologize for the depth of the true love that you feel for this person. And so I also feel, Divine Feminine, you are vibrating at a frequency of deep recognition and surrender, where you know this connection is rare, you know this connection is sacred, and you know this connection is transformational. And so although you may be feeling very vulnerable under these hidden energies, I want to say, of separation, there is this energy of you really learning that true love is not about clinging. It really is about releasing and trusting in that invisible union, in that invisible thread. Okay, the combined energies, the honeymoon card. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. So this kind of reflects the portal of connection of this transit, right? That's what this transit is offering, a portal of reconnection. And so the Venus in Aries wants action, and the Jupiter in Gemini wants conversation. And so there is a window for a very joyful interaction, even if it is brief. And so I do feel this is 6th house, 3rd house flavored, where there could be a short trip, there could be a quick message, there could be a sudden physical meeting, there could be telepathic connection. The honeymoon is an energy state, right? It's not just about taking a trip together. And so I do think both of the counterparts are craving that peace, that intimacy, that shared presence. even if it's only in the 5D for now, because this to me says there is a mutual longing here for that emotional closeness, right? For the twins to break away from all of the external chaos, right? And so there could be a mini reunion in the near future. It could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be energetically. But there is a timeline realignment, I feel, taking place where the counterparts are sinking in their desires for that energy of ease and shared joy and sweetness. But we do have the separation card on the bottom of the deck. And so there's a contrast, right, between what is desired and what is currently present. And it does say time apart from your partner is on the horizon, but most of the people that have found my channel, you're likely already in separation. And so this does also have a hint of a reflection of the Pluto in Aquarius retrograde. And so I do feel there is hidden grief, there's longing, there's unspoken pain, because the separation isn't just physical, it is an emotional and mental gap that both of the twins do have to heal while in separation. And so the Jupiter in Gemini, I think, is asking both of the counterparts to see both sides, to see separation as something that is temporary. It is an illusion, and it really isn't like a permanent truth here, right? And so I do feel this is a reminder, right? Separation is actually where we do the most growth, the most learning, and it's not the end. It is the distance that is needed in order to fuel the attraction, to prepare both of the counterparts for a more honest and aligned reconnection, okay? So let's go down into the tarot cards. Let's break it down step by step, starting with the Divine Masculine. And the first card out for him is the Hanged Man today. This is his bold truth, his mental clarity. This is showing that the Divine Masculine has reached a turning point when it comes to perspective. So there's like this energy coming through, I want to say, of a spiritual pause that has really started to shift his inner world. It says pause, perspective, selflessness. And so the Jupiter and Gemini energy is awakening, I want to say, new mental patterns. And this card is kind of the affirmation of him seeing things from a higher, probably less ego-driven lens. And so he's probably surrendering resistance or realizing that this connection isn't a trap, because he did get the 8 of Air out further in the spread. But it is a path to freedom, right? I think he can see now what he could not see before, and he cannot go back to the old view, right? Once we see things in that new light, we can't unsee them. And so the action or the desire that he's pulled towards is the energy of the World card, which is all about completion. So his desires, I do think he desires completion. He wants that sense of wholeness. He wants to close the cycle of separation. And so Venus in Aries, I want to say, is giving him the fire to take that initiative. The world is suggesting he wants something to come full circle. I do think he wants to reach out. He does want to reconcile. He does want to meet the divine feminine on that equal ground. And he's sensing the divine timing is right now. And so the chapter really isn't ending. It's kind of coming together in a very brand new, elevated way. But we do have a block here. We have a block. We have the 8 of Swords. And so there's a mental entrapment here, right? The ego is his cage. And so I do feel self-doubt, confusion, free will. All of these energies are serving as a block. His fear, his pride, his vulnerability. And Jupiter in Gemini, I want to say, is trying to free his mind, but he's still looping back in all of those old fears. What if I'm too late? What if I say the wrong thing? What if she's moved on? What if I'm not enough? And I do think his pride is probably masking that deeper fear of rejection. And so it's like he wants to move, but his mind is convincing him to stay safe. But the overall expression of this energy for the Divine Masculine is really beautiful. We do have the 9 of Cups paired with the Ace of Pentacles. And so there is an expansion going on here where I do think he is learning to align with his desires, right? And to create that in his reality. Wishes, dreams, happiness. He's wishing for an abundant new beginning. He wants happiness. He wants peace. He wants to plant a real seed with you that will go the distance. And so there is a major growth moment for the divine masculine, from that wishful thinking and to being prepared for the real world union and upgrading emotionally and materially. I do think he's ready to create something stable and solid. I think he knows what he wants, and he's finally willing to begin again. And I want to say, like, for real this time. Like, this is for real this time, okay? Divine Feminine, let's break it down, because you got the Queen of Cups, and to me today, this is your worth. This is your role, your worth. You are embodying emotional mastery and this deep inner love of self. You know your heart is sacred. And you know you no longer need to chase anybody to prove that, right? And so the Venus and Aries energy is asking the divine feminine to honor herself without hardening. This queen is magnetic in the energy of softness, right? And so your love is so powerful, divine feminine. So don't dilute it to be accepted, because how you are being asked to stay open. We did get the King of Cups. And so a true pair came out for you, divine feminine, the King and Queen of Cups. And so you are being asked to hold that emotional balance and to meet your counterpart with compassion, not from pain, but from that Queen of Cups poise. And so you are a spiritual match to call in a true partner, a true divine masculine match. And so this does appear as two counterparts in emotional maturity. And so you are being prepared to receive without losing your boundaries. You are strong in your love and soft in your receiving today. Nine of Wands is your wound. This is your pattern that you need to release. It says protection, preparedness, resilience. So I do feel you are still guarding yourself. I think you're still preparing yourself for pain, or even expecting a disappointment, right? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so Jupiter in Gemini is saying you don't have to repeat the old story. Let communication be brand new. This is an invitation for you to drop the armor. Yes, you've been hurt before, but you don't have to expect that it will happen again, right? So release that story of survival. It is safe for you to hope again. It is safe for you to love again, okay? Three of Pentacles. This is your magnetic power, your talents, your collaborations. The divine masculine is recognizing your willingness to co-create, to collaborate, to hold space for union. And you are deeply magnetic right now with your talents and your gifts. And so you are radiating this energy that you can build anything. And so I do feel this is kind of also like the energy of the invitation. You're calm, you're grounded, you're ready to create a shared foundation. And so union is not just a dream for you. It is a structure that you are building, and you are building it wisely. So let's break down the bottom row here, the combined energy between the counterparts. And the High Priestess in reverse, the only card in reversed today. This is what is being cleared, the secrets, the silence, the mystery-based communication. It's all being purged. And so this transit is bringing truth to the surface. Jupiter in Gemini is demanding that clarity. Venus in Aries is demanding that honesty. And so telepathy is going to start to become verbal. Dreams are becoming actionable. So this is a card saying no more hiding. That clarity is going to be the bridge between the twins today. Then we got the Sun card out, which is for me today the opportunity for the reconnection. There's joy, there's clarity, there's divine play. This is a pure yes, yes, yes card. The portal is open. But you have to be honest. You have to be ready to have that heart-centered conversation. And so messages, spontaneous joy, lighthearted exchanges, a deeper revelation can now emerge in the energies today. So let it be simple. Love is simple. It's not complicated. So let love and light return on your path, because of the Tower, I have to say today, is the desire for both of the twins beneath the surface. And so this isn't a card of, I want to say, destruction today, But there's this craving of transformation. There's this craving of liberation, of embracing change, of rebuilding, of clearing anything that is false. And so this is a joint soul level longing to break down the walls and to rebuild from that truth, right? So there's desire erupting, and it can't stay contained forever. And so if the old version must burn down, then the new version will rise from those ashes, right? And so the Four of Wands was the last card out, and this is the future timeline if courage is followed. And so union, celebration, sacred foundation. If both of the twins trust in the guidance of this portal, the connection will begin to stabilize, not in a place of fantasy, but in a real world resonance. And so this is the 1111 card. This is affirming the promise of alignment and shared joy and union. The union is written for the twins, but they both have to choose it together, okay? Let's just touch base on the bottom of the deck before jumping in with the final guidance from the universe. And so the true desire of both of the twins, there's long-lasting love here. There's union. There's home. But all of the self-deception, all of the pretending not to care, all of the running from the debt that has to be dealt with. And there is karma here being rebalanced in the energies today. The truth always comes out. And equilibrium will always be restored. And once that happens, there's going to be a lot of fast forward movement here because we do have the Eight of Wands. This is incoming messages, a lot of them. This is energy acceleration, accelerated ascension. And so beneath it all, beneath the silence, there's love. Beneath all of the delays, there is momentum building, and beneath all of the illusion, there is truth, okay? And so union is not too far away, but that clarity and that courage is going to have to lead the way. So the closing oracle guidance from the universe is journey to fulfillment. And the card does say, although others can influence us, we must take charge of our own destiny. And so this is the card, I want to say, of the divine mirror energy of Venus and Aries, reminding both of the counterparts that no matter how entangled or influenced they have been by fear, karma, external connections, or the opinions of others, sovereignty really is the path to fulfillment, right? So each twin is being asked to stop waiting for the other to go first and instead take that radical accountability for their own growth, their own healing, and movement forward. And this does also have a little bit of a hint of a reflection of the World card here in the Divine Masculine spread, signaling that union is not just about reunion. It is about this energy of graduation into that self-realized love. And so we are never here to wait around to be chosen. We are here to choose our own soul path, right? Fulfillment doesn't come from anything external, but it does come from that inner alignment. And then the bottom of the deck, the presence card. Be present. You play a vital role in this relationship dynamic, and this involvement does have a greater purpose than you realize. And so the universe is speaking very loudly to both of the counterparts here, but especially the divine feminine. The Queen of Cups, the Three of Pentacles energy is showing the divine feminine anchoring deeply into her divine role. And so there's a reminder too, I want to say, with the presence card. Well, time's up. Oh, double time's up. There is nobody near my daughter's Barbie house, and it is saying time's up. I just figured I'd let that play out. Even if there is no immediate movement in the 3D, your frequency is doing the work. Your presence is the medicine of this connection. And this is a nudge out of that Eight of Swords, I want to say, for the divine masculine, right? Where he's being urged to come into the moment, to release the overthinking, the mental entrapment, and to trust that internal pull. And so cosmically, the card aligns definitely with the Hanged Man and the Sun, the Ace of Pentacles. We got all kinds of beautiful energy coming through. And presence is what creates those breakthroughs. And so this connection is far from random, right? We do have a role in each other's lives that is very sacred. And we do need to show up as our whole self, not to control, but to contribute. And so there's a portal today. And it's not about chasing. It's not about waiting. It is about awakening, right? So each step both of the twins take in the direction of aligning to their own truth, does create the pathway to open up to union. And so are you ready to go a little bit further with me? If you are ready to go further with me, check out the description box down below where you will find a link to my webpage, and I can get you booked in for a personal or a twin soul reading. If you're not quite ready for that, then maybe you're ready to check out the membership side of the channel, where I do go live every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, where I do pull into all 12 zodiacs, since I'm no longer doing monthly zodiacs for the time being. So if you would like more personalized zodiac-based guidance, check out the membership side of the channel. But remember, guys, today, presence is the portal, courage is the key, and fulfillment is the reward.